obviously couldn't now. All right, so it's the SEC Growth Data Science staff meeting, which we just discussed a confidential topic. And now we're going to discuss the non-confidential things. It looks like, Nate, you have the first item.
Yeah, just a bit of news about new hires. The compliance group has a senior front-end engineer joining on November 28th. So that's Alwyn, coincidentally based out of New Zealand as well. So that's awesome. And we have another, hopefully some good news next week as well around this.
Nice.
I'll keep us moving. Yeah, I got next. So we noted this in Slack last week, but it's worth repeating here. So we've got a 4-year work anniversary and a 3-year work anniversary. One first for Tatiana, then to Daraj. So they put up with us for a long time. So this is always worth celebrating. So glad they're here.
So welcome, Siddharth, to the meeting. Siddharth is an outside shadow, is also a community contributor. Get that. And Thomas, you got the next item.
Yep. So just news and events since we're coming up on a U.S. holiday week next week. SEC retrospective, we're going to go ahead and schedule it for the week after. So that'll be November 30th or December 1st, depending upon location. We'll go ahead and do the same thing we've been doing with two sessions. So just want to give everybody a heads up that those were coming and going to be scheduled.
Good stuff. So best in class, BI, also known as BIC OKRs for secure and govern, are being finalized for Q4 by product management, with an ETA of distributing them by the end of this week. Once they are, please be sure to engage on them ASAP, as we want to accomplish the ones slated for Q4 in Q4 wherever feasible. If it would help, we can consider changing team priorities of the teams working on the OKRs and those not, to help out. Please also continue to give PM feedback and ask questions about the OKRs and the associated epics and issues to make sure we understand the goals and ways to deliver them as iteratively and effectively as possible. It sounds a little bit scary. We're getting OKRs, a couple weeks into the quarter. But the thing from PM is the best-in-class OKRs are likely going to be the work already in the backlog, a subset of the work already in the backlog that we're already working on or planning to over the next 2 or more releases. But we won't know for sure until we see them. And I'm on vacation for the next 2 weeks, so you won't see me bringing, shining a light on these once they're announced, which is why I'm bringing it up here. Any questions or comments about that?
So the TLDR here is we're talking with our product managers. What work have you got coming up for us in Q4 that you've already prioritized that relates to best in class?
Yes.
Great.
And
cool.
And when we need to choose between those and other things, we should choose those. It's, it's very, very generic, guidance, of course, but we don't have the details yet, so it has to be generic. Also, if you haven't already done so, please add a comment on good, bad, and try on your Q3 OKR, since we're 2 weeks into Q4, and tag your manager for review and then close them. Sometime in the next week or so would be great. In the hallway, should we invite newly created Google groups, that we created for each team, as optional for this meeting, so that the individual contributors are more aware of this meeting in case they want to attend or review the notes and recording?
I just put a note. I didn't think it was necessary. I think just putting it on the group calendar is enough. There's a lot of events on the group calendar. I want to promote the idea that any event on the calendar you can go to. You don't actually have to be on the specific invite. So I didn't think it was necessary. The other concern, of course, as managers, we all know this. If we invite people to a meeting, they feel compelled to be there. If something comes from Wayne, people will be like, oh, I need to go. And we don't want to create that. But I definitely understand we want to make sure people feel welcome.
A good point. We have also learned that people ignore group calendars primarily. Maybe do a poll in Slack to see if people want it added. But to your point, Seth, is let them know is just because they're invited doesn't mean they have to come. It's exactly the opposite. So, but what does everybody else think? Any strong opinions either way?
No, I agree with both of Seth's points there, really. But yeah, we want to advertise better. I think the Slack poll is a good way to do that. I'm happy to run that if no one else wants to.
All right, Phil, it's yours. Thank you. So I'm out next week. I'm out next week, but I canceled next week's meeting because many of us in the US at least, I think Canada too, are out. Trying to make sure to part of next week due to holidays. So the week after, I'm also out and looking for volunteers to organize this meeting. So Phil, I see you volunteered on this. Thomas, you did too. Since you just volunteered on the last thing, Phil, Thomas, you want to take this one?
Yep, I got it.
Okay, I'll do the transfer of the as appropriate. Little bookkeeping. Also, be aware that performance indicator meeting for second data science, that's monthly, is November 30th. Also well amount. So please plan accordingly, Phil, Thomas, and Mon, to do your pre-work or homework and participate sync or async as appropriate. And I just want to make sure we got an ack on all these from Phil and Thomas and Mon. So I already saw that. Thank you. Seth, you have a comment about this?
Yeah, just thanks for calling it performance indicator. One of the things I see so many acronyms being used, and it's really hard to know what these meetings are about because we are overdosing on acronyms.
Yeah, it used to mean to me product intelligence because that was a team that reported to Phil, but it doesn't mean that to me anymore. But it does mean to that team. We have also overloaded terms, as Mon Taylor like to remind me. We have two teams called data science at GitLab, Mon and another one, and that's that creates confusion too. So good point. These are interesting things. If you want to look at talks about what PM's goals are and what metrics they use, the engineering metrics that we're familiar with, like error budget and percentage of issues that are maintenance versus bugs versus features. But this group actually might be particularly interested in the PM metrics and like usage of the systems and customer growth. And I find that stuff really interesting. You might too, or you might not, but you're definitely welcome. Phil, you've got D.
Cool. We have a get together. We normally have a get together grant for the first month of the quarter. Because it's Q4, instead we have an end of year holiday party budget. We talked with Christopher Async, and he is thinking of delegating that down to the sub-department level, which means we'd have some flexibility in what we organize. I'm interested to hear what people in this group and your team, so please share with them what they would like to do. Do you want to do something at this level where we have maybe 3 meetings in a 24-hour period and we invite a lot of people? Do you want to break out into smaller groups? Do you want to include your counterparts, product and stable counterparts? Yeah, I'm interested to hear what people want to do. Yeah. Carmel and the growth team, they've started an issue to discuss it, to discuss what they want to do. Yeah, any other suggestions?
Yeah, for model ops, we'll actually bring this up even in the team meeting and probably even start a Azure poll to discuss. Last time, obviously, it was very small, the team. But yeah, so hopefully we'll get more details soon.
Aside of ordering food, does anybody have any great ideas on how to cash in on that $100?
Oh, last year it was what, 4 or 5 we did Secret Santa, and it was really interesting to see how engaging everyone was. It was interesting, definitely. We did they really wanted to know what the other person would actually want as a gift. Yeah, that was fun.
So what I'll do is I'll create one issue for this group, and I'll put some of the ideas that we've had, and I'll put examples of what we've done last year at various sub-department levels. I'll share it. I'll ping you all in that issue. You can take it away to your teams, create your own issues, decide what you want to do, and we'll all come back together in a week or two and organise what we're doing. We do need to check the latest guidance on what you can purchase as part of the holiday budget. I seem to recall there was an update recently, so we want to make sure things like Secret Santa are still allowed. Yeah.
All right, looking at the time, I'll go next. It's hard to follow that up with metrics, but I'm going to anyway. So I was talking with Derek earlier this week, and he's part of a working group for DevSecOps adoption. And we've historically, within Sec, so secure and govern, we've had a challenge with metrics and accurate metrics collection. And so he's looking for an engineer to help him with that, to help reconcile this particular situation, looking for a point of contact that he can work with across the section itself. And so I was bringing this here and to find out if does any EM have an engineer that might be interested in a section-wide initiative that would help that would be based within the Rails platform to help out with this. And I won't look for hand raising live, but please consider and get back to me async whenever you have a moment. I'll be asking more later this week as well. So
I've been discussing this with Derek as well, because there's a lot of updates needed in compliance, and I have an engineer who's working tightly on that, and I'll ask them whether they're willing to look at the section wide and get back to you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Omar, you've got next.
Yep. I opened up a team or issue for planning our Sec section team day. Still trying to figure out what the date should be, but we're thinking early in December. First question is, would anyone like to co-host or collaborate with me on planning this out? And then second question is going to be around, in the past, attendance has been fairly low, so just brainstorming ideas on how we could improve attendance there. And could be carried out async as we need.
So Siddharth is as I mentioned, is a GitLab community contributor. So any questions? Hey, Siddharth, again. Any questions for Siddharth on like why he's a community contributor, or Siddharth, any questions for this group? It looks like Thomas, you've got a question for Siddharth.
Yeah, it's two parts. So I'll start it. So thank you for joining us. So first question is, how long have you been a contributor to the project? And the follow on to it is, has it been getting easier or harder to contribute?
So like I've been contributing in GitLab for 1.5 years, and like it's been a great journey. Like I've been with GitLab. I've also done Google Summer of Code with GitLab. So like it was fun, and it's been a roller coaster ride. So yeah, like I'm enjoying contributing to GitLab. Yeah.
Siddharth, any questions for this group? I know you've met a few of the people previously in various meetings, but any questions for this group of engineering managers and senior engineering managers and legal counsel that happen to be here today?
Not right now, but I'll let you know like if I have any.
Okay, cool. Apologies that we went a good bit over on time, but we had a lot to discuss and discussed a lot of good stuff. So thanks, everybody. Have a great